Ah, come on.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Talking Niagara this morning. So, tell me more about the Minto Cup, Dave.
Here it is. It's starting up on Saturday, the Minto Cup. This is lacrosse's, the Junior A. This is a tournament for Junior A. Started back in 1935, so it's 90 years old, and it probably took over for other tournaments. It's Ontario wide. It's the best. During the conclusion of this, it's going to be the best Junior A lacrosse team in Ontario. Very exciting stuff, particularly for a guy like me who likes lacrosse. I played lacrosse only about 3 or 4 years though, but it was a great experience. It was a tough sport. They've made it a little bit more civilized since I played it, so there's a lot less fighting out there, and the stick work is still out there, but it's not as harsh as it used to be. We used to really be able to slam a guy with a stick, but can't do that anymore. So it's much more civilized game than it used to be, and it's an excellent source of athletic entertainment. So this begins on Saturday.
Where?
Get up the article so I can get the now. St. Catharines got in. That's in St. Catharines. It's at the what do you call it? That arena there.
Meridian Center. Meridian Center, Dave.
Meridian Center, yeah. Yes. That's Meridian Center.
That's where the Ice Dogs play.
That's right. And I've been there many times anyway. Actually, I like to go see. I've seen Cirque du Soleil in there about 3 times. That was fabulous too. But the fact of the matter is, no, I can't. I got to get back over here. Oh shoot, it's giving me trouble. Holy cow!
Yeah. Well, I just thought. Okay, so do you know when the times of games are?
Yeah, the first one kicks off at 7 or 7:30. Let me. Oh God, this thing is just giving
when Friday,
Saturday, I think.
Saturday.
7:30
in the morning.
What?
7:30 in the morning or evening?
No, at night. There are 2 games. There'll be usually most days there'll be 2 games. There'll be one at 4 and one at 7:30.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and how long is it going on for?
And this will go right to the 16th, I believe, which or not? No, it starts at the 16th, goes right through to the 22nd, I guess, 21st. But you can get tickets. I've got a ticket. It cost me $130, and I can see every game for $130.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because this is Junior A lacrosse, right? So you're not going to get pinched like for professional. But even if you go to professional games in Buffalo or Toronto, they're not nearly as dear as professional hockey. So anyway, round robin action gets underway Saturday 4 p.m. when Coquitlam faces Orangeville in a rematch of last year's final, starting at 7:30. Right. 2 round robin games will also be played on Sunday. Orangeville taking on Calgary. St. Catharines playing. Well, actually, it's nationwide. Sorry, I'm wrong about that. I said the best in Ontario, best in Canada. This is Junior A, the best Junior A in Canada. For some reason, I was saying Ontario. Monday's schedule has Calgary versus Coquitlam, Orangeville, and so on. One of the and there's only one game on tap on Tuesday. Okay.
To make up for the only being one on Saturday. Yeah, I know.
And then the first place team with best of 3 final, which gets underway on Thursday. So you got quite a bit of lacrosse there. You could go game by game, or you could do what I do. Did and get for $130, get the whole damn thing. I got tickets for every game.
So anybody who needs to find Dave Wheeler in the next few days will know exactly where to find him. Meridian Center.
Watching lacrosse.
Watching lacrosse games, and he'll be up in the gods, won't be able to see a thing, or on the sidelines making a fool of himself.
No, I'll be just waiting there in case one of the teams wants to call me up. Oh, we're short of a player who got injured. Where's Dave? Oh, there he is. Come on down, buddy. The only thing I'd be any good for nowadays would be a goalie because I'm wide enough to cover the net. But other than that, I have played goalie, though. I did play goalie. I was playing for two teams for a while there. I was filling in for a goalie, and I could have kept – oh, that's one of my regrets. I could have stayed with that team and gone to the Canada Cup or the Canada Games, pardon me. And that year, that team won. And I would have been on the winning team.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's the way life goes, right?
It does. I needed money, so I went to work, and only played for one team.
So, Gary Wilkins is saying, so there's no more eye gouging. Is Peterborough playing?
I don't know. I don't see them on the schedule. They might not have made it, but yeah. I haven't looked at the whole schedule, so I'll see if I can find it here.
Yeah. All right.
Peterborough usually got a pretty good club.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get on with the rest of the stuff if you want to find that out. Right. 50% of trucks pulled over in the Lincoln safety blitz were found to be defective.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, it always seems to happen. A lot of what's going on is they know that a lot of the trucks that actually avoid those highway pull-ins are ones that are defective. They know that they're doing it. They're doing it because they want to skirt the system. And as I understand it from speaking to some truckers, there are actually some kind of alternate route plans out there to enable truckers to flout these things.
Yeah, I can't find the whole. They only show me 4 teams here, but they don't even put a St. Catharines in there.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't know. There must be more than that. Are those just the main, the key teams?
Pain in the neck.
All right. Anyway, so so this safety blitz is not surprising really, because a lot of trucks are just skirting around those highway pull-ins, and they focused on drivers who deliberately avoided the inspection stations along the QEW in Vineland, and was performed in response to complaints of increased commercial traffic in Lincoln and West Lincoln.
Well, yeah, this is typical. Yeah, you go around that's what they want you to do. They want you to go, a lot of the truckers, the companies even want you to go around and avoid the way stations. Yeah. But of course, what happens then is more and more travel, like you get more and more travel down Highway 20 or the smaller routes. You get a lot of traffic down places where it shouldn't be. So you get a lot of truck traffic. People begin to complain about that. But the reason why they're trying to dodge the scales in the first place is because they don't want to get charged. They're overweight. They haven't taken care to strap down the loads well enough. Maybe even the driver is not up to snuff. Who knows?
And probably, the other thing is, what they found here is they've laid a lot of charges for safety infractions, including defective tires, defective brakes, and the like, which is supposed to be stuff that you inspect every morning before you take that truck out.
Sure. Well, what's happened is a lot of people are taking shortcuts, basically. And I don't know. I don't want to cast aspersions. This has always gone on, but
yeah, I know.
If you notice a lot of a lot of the truckers nowadays are new Canadians, and of course they're going to try to minimize the amount of money they pay or how much they have to. They're gonna run like they do in the places they came from. If they can avoid something, they will. It just takes time to make sure that happens. I noticed we were having one of the reasons why they have this blitz, of course, is because so many trucks are trying to avoid the stations that they go around. Now, some of that time is because it slows them down, but most of the time they're trying to beat that because just because they're not up to snuff and they know it.
Yeah. Well,
the brakes aren't good. The reflectors aren't good. They're everything, So
yeah.
Plus, they're causing a lot of traffic in places where it shouldn't happen. While they're trying to avoid the scales in the inspection stations, they're I don't know if they're running through Smithville, but they might be. You know what I mean? The secondary highways in that would have a lot of trucking on it, which is unnatural.
13 of the 26 trucks were found to be defective, and there will be fines for both the companies and the drivers for that, Mike.
Yeah, so it's a good thing. I read this a couple of days ago, and it was a very good thing. And I remember being, I had a flatback truck when I worked with rigs it was a boom truck, and I got pulled over on that for being overweight when I was getting a cargo of stone back from Toronto. 3 times I was pulled over, and I weighed too much, but they let me go because the weight wasn't that significantly over. So they gave me a fine, but I didn't pay it. My employer did, and that happened to me 3 times. And I was there's one in there's one on Highway 20 that I get nailed on, and they weren't gonna let me carry on because one of my reflectors wasn't working. Like the I don't know, the glass, the red glass or something, but it worked, but I don't know, it was a petty thing, and so my boss had to phone them and tell them to let us go, which we did. And I mean, otherwise my boss would have had to drive all the way up Highway 20, but to get us. So that's the situation we find ourselves in. We find that people are cheating. We know that people are cheating.
Yeah, but the thing is, minor things like that is something that well, I guess it might not be considered minor. It could be potentially dangerous in a situation where you can't.
Look, if your brakes aren't up to snuff, that's dangerous.
That's
one of the things it mentions in the article is that the loads hadn't been cinched down properly. Yeah. Well, can you imagine? Can you imagine going down and an I-beam falls off one of those trucks? What's going to happen to the cars behind them?
That's be pretty bad. Yeah.
I knew a guy one time. His brother is I think it was a stepbrother was driving up heading towards Peterborough, and a truck coming back down with big logs on it. One of the load let go, and one of the huge logs rolled over right in front of him, and it just killed him immediately. And that was a load that let go. I was on a truck in Libya when the load let go. Was starting to let go. So that could be a very, very dangerous situation, mostly for people who are on the road with them. So if their loads aren't cinched down, man, that is a big deal. If their brakes aren't up to snuff, that's not a big deal. And all these things mean safety for us. And also, if you don't crack down on them, there'll be more and more violations.
Yeah, Mike is saying he lost 2 friends from as truck drivers, and things falling off the trucks and killing them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and one of the things they found when they did this, when they hit all these guys trying to avoid the inspection stations, is that some of them, their loads weren't cinched down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And presumably that takes more time to get that done.
Well, yeah, as a truck driver, you're supposed to go around and inspect. You're probably the one that's supposed to make sure that those loads are strapped in. Any truck driver I've ever known, he's got his own straps and he's got his own bear claw, and he cinches down the loads, make sure they are how they should be. That's his bread and butter. But if you're in a hurry, okay, well, I'm not going all the way to Barrie. I'm only going to Toronto, so I won't cinch it down as well. Oh, yeah, well, see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And that's just as potentially dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Trump's toothless deadlines are simply a show for the Nobel Peace Prize Committee.
I had to put this in for amusement. It's Gwyn Dyer, who is a opinion columnist. Now I have to say that he's an opinion guy, but he's respected worldwide. I actually got one or two of his books, which I've read.
Yeah.
Now he's not always right, but he's pretty right a lot of the times. He's been out there for a very long time. He used to be in the Canadian military, and I think he's won some pretty big awards for documentaries and other news stuff. But aside from that, he's how far back? That's back a little bit, isn't it? How many days back?
It was the ones we didn't get to yesterday.
Yeah, it might have been a couple days old, actually.
From the spec,
so it's been a couple days since I've read it.
Yeah.
But
and the deadlines are seen as basically performative rather than substantive. But then again, there's a lot of interesting stuff in relation to deadlines.
I have to get the article up here. Well, basically what he is saying, that a lot of the the start, go, stop again, big bluster stuff that Trump does. One minute he says he's going to stop the war, then he ain't going to stop the war. And 1 minute it's Ukraine's problem, and then it's Russia's problem. It's their fault. And I was going to stop it in one day, but I can't because they're not letting me, and all this other stuff. And it goes on and on like that. A lot of this bluster is supposed to be designed. Here we go. Finally, I found it again. Yeah, it goes back a while. But so basically, it says that the deadlines are toothless and are meant to dazzle the Nobel Peace Committee.
Yeah,
because he wants a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, okay. So it also says here that Donald Trump sets deadlines for more complicated reasons that purport to be tactical, but he is too addicted to the whooshing sounds they make. And that line really comes from the fact that Donald Trump sets deadline. He is sharp and poetically critical, likely inspired by Douglas Adams' famous quip about deadlines. I love deadlines. I love the whooshing sound they make as they go by.
Well, there's lots of Trump deadlines that did the whooshing sound. And but look, the first thing I like to say, if Donald Trump can stop this damn war, okay, I'll give him credit. And then work on Gaza. He fucked up Gaza. Oh, sorry. Shoot, watch my. Like, he messed up Gaza bad. Says he's going to make a big resort out of it and left it and let everybody bomb themselves to death in there again. Well, mostly the Israelis, like they killed another 100 people the other day, for crying out loud. And so he's looking for this Nobel Peace Prize. But let me say this, even though he said he could fix it in the first day of his office, he hasn't been able to do squat about it. And if he can fix it, if he can bring a peace deal, I'll tip my hat to the guy, because that's a lot of bloodshed that should never have happened. And if he can stop that, I'll stop criticizing him. But in the meantime, for a day, maybe. But if it's a good one, yeah, I'll go with it. I have a feeling it won't be him doing the negotiating, though. It will be somebody else that knows better. He'll just say, Vladimir, stop, buddy, man, stop. Not going to. Oh, I'm going to put a sanction on you, pal. And Trump declared again after the deadline rolled out that India's new tariff would be 50%. Okay, so he's all these off and again stuff. Countries like India are facing up. This says we don't care if we're going to take a hit. We're going to take a hit. You can't tell us what to do. Brazil did the same thing. So his power to intimidate has gone down, and so according to Gwen Dyer, it's all show. It's just all show. Although Trump is very much enthralled to Putin, who he mistakenly believes is his personal friend, he knows a full Russian conquest of Ukraine would not be a good look on his record. His real goal is to win the Nobel Prize in order to end the shame of having seen a Black American, Barack Obama, get one first.
Okay, so
you needed a longer lasting peace. Well, you know what? In this particular case, I have to agree. I'm biting my tongue here, but I have to agree with Trump. Why did Barack Obama get the Peace Prize? Did anyone know why he got the Peace Prize? Did he got the Peace Prize
because he killed? Because he sent in the SEAL team that killed Osama bin Laden.
He got the Nobel Prize for Peace way before that. He got it nearly as, I don't know, within months of him being the president. Yeah. He did not do anything.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are angry about that. But Trump says if he can get one for doing nothing, I could get one for doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Gary Wilkins is saying, don't tip your hat to Donald Trump. Give him that damn shirt of yours.
I'm not even going to let him know I got that shirt. He'll be wearing one like mine every day at press conferences.
Well, you better stop criticizing him then.
Well, I'm not really criticizing him. Yeah, I guess I'm criticizing his whole administration and the whole way that he does stuff, because he's not an honorable man. He could be a world leader. He could galvanize the Western nations, but he chooses not to. He chooses to make enemies out of all of us. He wants servants rather than helpers. He wants us to bow rather than to shake hands. So he's a jerk. He's a bully, and he's come after us, Canada. He's come after us. He's coming for us, as Doug Ford said, but he already has come for us, and it's time to get tough with him too. So if he's going to he wants to push us around, well, I'll hate the guy right away.
Okay. And this is actually something more up our normal alley. Double-digit pay rises has just been voted for by the Grimsby Council for the incoming council.
Oh, we're taking up a lot of old articles here that were being stacked on. Yeah, I have to go back again. This one I read a few days ago.
Yeah.
What it is basically is Grimsby's politicians. Excuse me. Oh dear.
Yeah, they voted 7-2 to approve a remuneration and expense policy review that will boost councillors' salaries for the next term by 23% and the mayor's base salary by 11%.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? I think they've looked around. What they've done is they've got a consultant.
It's a good thing that they don't vote their own salaries, that they're voting for the next term. That I agree with, right? I'm not so sure that I agree with them taking 20 odd percent pay boost when there's a lot of people hurting out there, and when when it's adding to the tax burden of the local residents.
What I got out of it was they did it in the right way, basically.
They did. I'm not saying that.
They got a consultant or some kind of advisor to analyze what everybody else was being made in similar positions, and then decided, well, they will boost their pay to be similar to the municipalities in and around similar municipalities. But this comes at a time when, people already have too much of a tax burden. Now, the one solution that was in there pretty much said, you know what we should really do is reduce the amount of counselors. That could save us some money. I mean, a counselor should not be asked to do the amount of work they're asked to do for minimal compensation. But on the other hand, you may have too many counselors, and that's what the whole issue has been a lot lately. Is we are overgoverned, we are overrepresented.
That's been a consistent thing, so it's been a consistent theme, realistically.
Yeah, it doesn't, Gary. It doesn't look like Peterborough made it. I can't find them anywhere on the schedules.
There you go. Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. Look, St. Catharines didn't make it either. They're only in there because they happen to be the host city this year. So it's just like the host country in the World Cup of anything. They get to play, even though they may not be the greatest team. Now, St. Catharines got knocked out by Whitby. It was a good series, let me tell you. It was a very good series. I watched a few of those games. And actually, I watched 3 of them. And anyway, Whitby.
As my understanding goes, is there still some pre-tournament games going on today?
Well, you got to watch different leagues. You see, there's the Chiefs. The Six Nation Chiefs are playing still, but I don't think they qualified for this. They may be in a different category altogether. So I'm a little bit confused at how things work here. So the Chiefs, and so I don't know if they were still playing when these other teams had already qualified. So I wasn't sure what was.
Well, no, I thought there was some last ditch. There's still some open rounds. There's a couple of games today, I think, because when I looked up Minto Cup stuff, it talked about games today.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the decider on
last minute qualifiers. Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So that ought to be good. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're going to get some excellent lacrosse. If you like lacrosse, excellent lacrosse. I mean, the junior A's play a really good brand of lacrosse.
Yeah. And okay, so Mike asked a question that I'm marking. Do they deserve that raise? Can you imagine us asking for that raise?
Well, to deserve it, if they're coming up on par with everyone else, how can you argue that? When all the other municipalities are paying their people more. So this is the argument. Really, is you want to invite the best talent you can. Unfortunately, what you do is you invite the people who have enough money to pay for a campaign. You know that. I mean, you were a campaigner. You were a candidate. How did you fare with candidates that spent a lot more money?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I think for the $0 that I spent, I did fairly well, but
yeah, and you don't have a reputation like Mike Strange as a guy that's been an Olympian and he's run across Canada. he's he sometimes is thick as a brick when it comes to stuff. I wonder if he ever does his homework sometimes. But he's been trying to be more vocal lately. But then you get a person like Lori Lococo, who has built her reputation by dutifully doing what she should be doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But anyway, the argument is anybody who's going to want to do the job is going to be put off by the minimal amount of money they get. But I don't know. I don't know. Do they deserve that? I don't know. I think each individual counselor, some deserve it, some don't. Some deserve more and some deserve less, depending on how much work they do before, in their constituencies. I think the problem, of course, is everybody's going to get upset about this. But if you compare it to the other communities or municipalities, it's just bringing them up to the same level. The real issue is how much are we governed, and the more we're governed, the more we're taxed. So I think that's probably the issue. If you want to bring down or maintain or reduce the increase of government, is to reduce the amount of members.
Mm.
We reduce.
So you're saying we should reduce the number of city council of councillors that they have there.
Yeah.
And you approve the.
See, we used to have 12 in town. Now we have 8.
I think we should be back. I think we should be pushing that up to 10 with the current rises in population.
I'm not so sure. I don't know why 8 can't handle it.
I'm just. I would argue 10, but still. Anyway, that's a different matter for us, right? Grimsby, I don't know. I don't know too much about the Grimsby the changes in Grimsby, right? Okay, so moving on. The Ford government is confirming $1 billion in emergency loans plans for tariff hit industries. I'm kind of a bit. I'm a bit cautious on this one, because if we're bailing out a company just because they're tariff hit, just because they don't have alternative markets, is that the right thing to do? Shouldn't we help companies find alternative markets?
Well, they are. The problem is you can't find an alternative market with a snap of a finger. And in the meantime, the steel and aluminum tariffs are pushing people to the unemployment line. If they're doing that, you have to help them out. This is an uncalled for attack on Canada. Trump's using his bully tactics to thump you over the head until you say uncle, and then do what he says. This is, like I said, this guy is not an honorable man. That's the way he does business. So basically, you got to get ready to fight. We're going to be in a fight. We're going to be in a battle. It's going to be, a tug and war between us and them. And in the meantime, you have to protect your people. If that means borrowing money to help them out when artificial trade barriers come up and extinguish your trade, sooner or later, the aluminum will pick back up again, because the United States can only maintain zero aluminum imports or less imports from Canada, or because the aluminum steel imports are worldwide. Sooner or later, the United States is going to need it. They're going to make concessions because they're going to need it. Their car manufacturers and everybody else are yelling at them, what are you doing? So sooner or later, they might not need Canadian steel, but we might not need their steel. So we could onshore the stuff that they do for us, and they can onshore the stuff that we do for them. It's just kind of very dumb that they're doing this the way he does it. But in the meantime, he wants to hurt us. He wants to hurt us and make us bend. And the way he can do that is put people in unemployment lines, and that's what he's doing. So you have to protect against that. So I'm all in favor of borrowing money and helping these people out. Sooner or later, this mess is going to end. Sooner than well, in the meantime, you have to protect your sovereignty. You have to protect your industry. You have to protect everything.
And I will put up what Mike just said. Canada holds 430 billion of USA bonds. They should threaten to sell, call in these debts. Well, he's saying sell these bonds to help make the difference from the tariffs. I would say they need to call in the debt. Call in the debt or zero tariffs.
No, you don't do it like that, because you don't want to do something that's going to hurt you too. Right? That sounds good. It sounds like Japan and China could have dumped their treasury bonds on the open market and really make U.S. hurt. Right? Yeah. They didn't do that. Why didn't they do that? Because they're afraid of the consequences that come back and bite them.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It will send a ripple through the world markets that might hurt them more than it will hurt the United States.
The big five that hold the U.S. debt is China, Japan, Britain, somebody else in Canada. I forgot who the other one was.
Maybe Germany.
No, I don't think it was Germany. I don't think
it could be Saudi Arabia.
It was a European nation, but I can't remember who it was.
Okay. Come back tomorrow with the results of your research and tell us.
Yeah.
Look, the point here is you don't want to do something that will damage you. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why Ford wants to fight fire with fire. Carney sees if you fight fire with fire, you might hurt yourself. You might burn yourself more than you burn them. So you have to select how you're going to.
And I understand Carney's position in that regard, because he's looking at the fact that you've got a world market that's finitely blended.
Well, when we're looking at the United States, what good is it to charge our own people 25% more on a car or something that comes from the United States? So we're going to have to pay 25% more. How's that going to help us?
Yeah.
Are we going to buy less of that car? So you have to think yourself, okay, Canada needs X amounts of pickup trucks. And the pickup trucks the Canadians like to use are the ones built in the U.S. with X amount of Canadian content. But let's say a Ford only has 20% foreign content in its mix. So if you want to buy a Ford F50, a 150, which apparently is the most popular truck out there, then what do you do to your Canadian farmers or construction workers or anybody else that needs a truck? I'm not talking about the bozo that buys a truck and never puts anything in it. I'm talking about the person
really heavy duty users. I know
that needs a truck. That needs a truck. So is it really good to tell your construction crew that you're going to have to pay 25% more for that truck that you need? No, it's not a good idea. So Carney will say, well, no, we don't want to punish that construction crew because they need a truck.
Yeah.
Right. So how else can we do this?
But again,
cutting off bourbon, stuff like that. That's a good way of doing it. This is not going to hurt anybody. I like bourbon myself. When I go to the store and I don't find any bourbon, well, too bad for me. But that's
it hurts. Well, it hurts you. It hurts me if I can't get my bourbon. But yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
But it also, but I didn't think that was a good idea in the first place. We shouldn't have pulled those things off the shelves.
No, I think it's a good idea. Very good idea. Because it's an inconsequential thing. It's an inconsequential thing. Like bourbon, wine, all that stuff. It doesn't hurt us. As a matter of fact, it helps us. So I think that's a good thing. And it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt anybody.
You
because
see,
the person that's going to buy a bottle of liquor and wants to go in and buy a bottle of bourbon is now going to be buying a Canadian whiskey instead, or some other whiskey, or some other wine.
Sorry,
some other
what I was trying to say, what I meant to say, Dave, was leaving them on the shelves until they were all sold wouldn't have been an issue. Not buying new, taking them off the shelves was a problem. Not buying new was the way to go. Let what was on the shelves be sold.
No, I don't think so. We did it with Russia when Russia invaded Ukraine. We took all their liquor off the shelves immediately. I think they gave a 2-day notice or something like that. So all the Slavic types converged upon every LCBO outlet and bought as much vodka as possible. Now they're probably buying it on the black market. But you look at, get it off the shelves immediately. I thought that was a good idea. It made it very, very clear right away that we're not going to roll over like the EU. We're not going to roll over like Japan. We're not going to we're not going to do what Trudeau did anymore. Go down to Mar-a-Lago and beg. No, that ain't going to happen no more. So it's fighting. These are fighting words. Look, if you want to fight, you might beat us, but you're going to get one hell of a bloody nose doing it. So you better think. You might better think.
All right. Okay, so basically there's for any manufacturers that are being hit by the tariffs, there's basically $1 billion worth of funding support from the Ontario Trade Ministry. All right, that's what this was all been about. And it's part of a $5 billion pot which has been announced by the Ford government in the last budget. So there you go. All right. Okay, so interesting. You've got this thing about and Catholic priests asked to leave Canterbury after failed connection attempts. Explain this.
Well, it's pretty clear. It's something that I hadn't even heard of before, but it's. I just thought I'd bring it up as an interest thing. That there are these priests, and they have a sort of an organization called the Sons of the Most Holy Redeemer, and they have become very controversial. They began well enough, but what's happened is they are doing weird things without the permission of the local bishop, and they have been sort of examined twice now by the Vatican, and the second time says no, they got to go. You can't be associated with these churches. And Christ Church, of course, in Wellington, and some churches in the UK, including.
I was going to say Canterbury here refers to a township in New Zealand, not to Canterbury as in the head of the English Church.
So what have they been doing? Basically, they've been doing a lot of exorcisms.
Yeah,
exorcisms, and it's kind of put people at odds. Like, what are you doing? First of all, if you're going to do an exorcism, and they still do it in the Catholic Church, you have to get permission from the bishop, and the bishop himself may have to go to the big boy himself in Rome and ask for permission, because these are very, very controversial things. Anybody with you could be exercised because of mental illness, or you could be exercised because you got a bad cold. Who knows what reasons they're going to use to exorcise someone, remove the evil spirits, ban the evil one from doing what he does to you. But they have had an appeal and they have been pretty much, they are now forbidden from performing ministry. Despite the mass continued, the diocese reported a new priest arrived without permission to exercise ministry for the sons. They also have a female chapter, which are kind of like 10 nuns. Yeah, which is a very odd. So the reason why I put it there is even established religions we have can get pretty weird. We know about the Catholic Church and its pedophilia and worldwide pedophilia and how they couldn't contain it. They tried to hide it instead of fix it. Okay, so they learned a terrible lesson there. And now what do they got? They got people going around exercising people. So what is it, the strains within a religion like that, a well-established religion, will let things go so awry? So you got a bunch of priests going around exercising people without, I don't know. You got to go to exorcism school in Rome before you can become an exorcist.
Yeah, I would think that in the current era, exorcisms are rare.
They very, very are. Well, they've become a bit of an embarrassment. But when I was in Rome back in 2016, I think it was, they were down to one exorcist. They only had one left. And I remember the Italian guy I was talking to about it. They're going to need more exorcists. You know, I mean, he didn't believe in it or anything like that, but he was a Catholic. And he says, you know, get the idea that in Rome, they're down to one exorcist, one guy that could perform an exorcism. A little later on, we reported on this show that they got 200 young priests to come in to learn how to do exorcisms because they were running out of priests that could perform an exorcism if they needed it to happen.
Yeah.
So it's very, very controversial. You don't want people going around doing exorcisms for, a callus on your heel, or
why not? If it gets rid of it, why not? No, I'm joking, of course. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like taking a bazooka to kill a housefly,
Yeah, yeah.
If you believe in it, if you believe in that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and we shouldn't take that lightly at all.
Yeah. So anyway, the Vatican investigation was spurred by allegations of abuse against members of the community. A spokesperson for the Sons was previously insisted that without any charges, the accusations were untrue, embellished, or hearsay.
Probably goes that way even after the inquiry.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting article to show how wacky religion can get sometimes, and I just thought it was an interesting human interest story. I don't know what the daughters of the daughters of the Most Holy Redeemer, an unapproved association where members appeared to operate as unsanctioned nuns, are also expected to disband. So there was another group, the Daughters of Redemption.
I presume they're related, though.
Possibly. It seems the way it is. It doesn't. I imagine they put it in there because they're related, but they're unauthorized nuns. They didn't go to nun school, so they can't be nuns.
Yeah.
Now, there's in the Catholic Church, they have the lay people, the lay people who are not nuns or priests or anything of that work religiously, do religious things. There's a certain amount of things that are permitted to the lay people, what they can do and what religious functions they can cover, the laity. But in this particular case, they tended to be the real thing, and they, according to the Vatican, they weren't. So there it is. I don't know. It's just a pretty interesting article. You get a bunch of exorcists going around. I wonder how much money they make. Hey, you want us to exercise your house? All you have to do is put a squeaky toy behind the wall and tell them that the house is like full of ghosts and stuff. Okay, we'll get rid of the bad spirits.
Squeaky toy with a remote. Squeaky toy with a remote control, eh?
Exactly. Oh, looks like you got a evil spirit behind your wall. You know what? We can get rid of that. Well, how much? 10,000. Oh, come on. You may do it for 1,000. Oh, and then you come to okay. All right, we'll agree to do it for $5,000. And then you do your hocus pocus. Somebody goes into the house, takes the squeaky toy out. Okay, your house is now clean. No evil spirits in it. Then take the squeaky toy across town and do it again.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, that last statement just said it all, doesn't it? Take the squeaky toy across town and do it all again. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to be quite a business.
Cheap exorcisms on the side for profit. Yeah.
I don't know. I just gave myself an idea. I'm going to go shopping for a squeaky toy after this.
And a remote control to squeak it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need somebody to sacrifice. Peter.
No, not me. I think it's going to have to be Gary.
Well, I think Gary. No, Gary. You can't. Gary's is sort of a diamond in the rough. You know that he gave $1,700 to charity. He sold that guitar that he won, and he sold it for $1,700 bucks.
Yeah.
He gave that money to the Rick Rose Foundation. So as what you might not expect of Gary, having spent some time with him.
Actually, that doesn't in the least bit surprise me. That is exactly what I would expect out of Gary.
Well, I do too, because I know him. But if you were to look at him, you would not think of him as being what we call it, altruist like that. Yeah. No, nor would you of me or anyone else, just because it looks like an ordinary guy. But so okay. Thank you, Gary. Thanks for that donation. That's $1,700. You should put it out there. Remember the work he's done. A lot of environmental work and bringing issues to bear. Also with Mike Cushman, he's done that. So we have maybe a few diamonds in the rough in this town.
Off-topic question: do Ontario farmers have restrictions or ban on roadside fruit stands? I don't think so.
Well,
I can't say.
I think they have to be I think there's a licensing or permit type of arrangement. Now, if you go onto somebody's land, let's say you go into a farm, driving down the farmer's, and you drive onto the farm, and they have a fruit right there close to the road, but it's their farm. They can sell what they want to sell. I think because it's on their land. But when let's say it's more in a city or something like that, you might have to look for permit.
Yeah. I would think on the road you wouldn't require a permit. You can set up the stand.
Yeah. I remember I had to do all kinds of jobs in Nanticoke back and forth. I went to Nanticoke hundreds, if not thousands of times in 25 years. And I would be driving home and I would pull into a farm and buy fruit, eggs, vegetables, know, when it was in season. There was a place I could buy a flat of 30 eggs, and they were laying hens, and they had to let them lay for a while, lay eggs before their consistency of their eggs got to a certain point. So you could go in and buy these flats for $2. And my middle boy thought it was the best eggs he's ever tasted in his life, and he still talks about it. Mm-hmm. And he was just a little fella then. And so you could go in there, you could buy, like I would buy strawberries, like for instance, somebody asked me, why did you buy strawberries when you could buy them in the store a little cheaper?
I'd like to know why Lee Monty thinks there actually might be a ban on roadside fruit stands, because I've not heard of one. I'm interested.
I don't know. There is that business in town now where roadside vendors. There's been complaints about them, where you get the kiosks going up for a certain period of time.
In town, the kiosks in cities is not a good thing, but on the roadside, providing there's ample place to stop, I would say there's no problem.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, there's all kinds of them. There's types where you can pull in and you pay on the honor system. They just have the stuff out display in a little jar.
Yeah.
Say here, pay here. So you know, it's like $2 for a squash. So you peel out $2 and you put it in there and take your squash. So other places are a little bit, they have an attendant. I don't know. I don't think I think if it's on your property, you have the right to sell whatever you want.
Yeah,
just produce or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so moving to another one. I'm in the sacrifice. Me, not guilty on all of the charges. Woot woot, says Gary. Yeah, well, you've got to come up with a guy to be the sacrifice, then, Gary. It's going to be held at dawn. It's going to be held at dawn on Sunday morning. Okay.
Yeah, Peter, you're going to be there, right, Gary? Because who's really going to get sacrificed? You know what I mean, Gary?
Not me.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I was like,
so Lee is basically saying thank you. Nothing better than local fruit and veggies. Maybe I confused it with farmers needing a permit. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to know more about it myself because I hadn't heard of a ban. If there is a ban, it's news to me.
As far as I know, if it doesn't disrupt traffic, get in the way, if it's on your own land, that who's going to bother you? Like I said before, I've done it hundreds of times, just driven on the farm property where they have a fruit stand or that egg thing I was talking about too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there used to be, there's more than a few places we used to buy eggs. We used to buy fruit from places out out where we used to live out in the country. Right.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
I think it's the best thing going too, because you're paying that loot directly to the farmer.
Yeah.
There's no middleman in between.
All right. So I think we'll leave it at that point, right?
Yes, we will. And looking forward to the sacrifice. I'm going to go out there and buy squeaky toys with a remote on it. I can see some big cash coming in here. I got to find some kind of uniform to wear though. I want to maybe wear a hood, with some medallions.
It is the same as holding a garage sale at your own property. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't need a permit for that.
No, you don't. No.
And in fact, actually, there was one of these on a very busy road, and I'm like, wow, you're holding a garage sale where there's 15 cars parked down this busy road.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit off, but again, it was kind of, well, it's only one day. Can't really complain about it.
Well, yes. And just before we leave, I'd just like to say that I'm looking for investors in my new exorcism company. Dave's Exorcisms. Cheap. Fully qualified.
Squeaky Toy, sponsored by Squeaky Toy Limited.
Yeah, that could be our sponsor, but I don't know. I might have to be a little bit more artful there. Squeaky Toy. Ghost sounds like a squeaky toy. It may give it away. So anyway, don't forget Gaza, everyone. That thing has gone to a mess right now, and I'm gonna bring it up every time, every day, because it is one of the most heinous things I've ever seen. where one country, Hamas drove right up to the fence, ripped it up with a front end loader, led their goons in there, did their nasty stuff, got a bunch of hostages. That's exactly what Netanyahu wanted. So they killed 1,200 people, and now the Israelis killed 70,000. So now it's getting around the point where there's 68-1 for every Israeli that was killed. 65 to 70 Palestinians have been killed. So anyway, I want to point that out, and I wish the West would get their act together on this.
Right.
Anyway, without further ado, I bid you adieu.